Um, my debut CD repertoire for Deutsche Grammophon is Frédéric Chopin, obviously, after the Chopin competition. I'm very happy that I will play, or I have played, a couple of the most important works for me. It's for sure Third Sonata, his latest sonata, the most mature one, and then Ballade number 4, for me the most beautiful and most singing ballad of them all. And Polonaise-Fantasy is also a big part of that CD. It's quite cool for me because it was the obligatory piece this year at the Chopin competition, and it's not only a late work. It's composed in the last years of Chopin, or in his last years, and I have to say it's basically the work for all of us Chopinists, I say, because it's so hard to find the balance between the obviously Polonaise hints that are in there, plus the fantasy part, which is basically a remembrance, a thinking of his whole life, and you can hear that so clearly that he kind of thinks about everything he has done in his life, musically and privately, and here and there comes back to the Polish Polonaise themes that you cannot over exaggerate, but it's very important that they are there. And as I said, due to the fact that it was the obligatory piece this year at the Chopin competition, I'm very happy that it will be one big part of this debut CD. And of course, we can never forget Andante Spianato at Grand Polonaise, Opus 22. It's, for me, one of the 3 greatest Polonaises there are. It's next to heroic A-flat major Polonaise and military Polonaise. It's really the Polonaise for me, and it's also the longest and the most complex for me. And the recording has been a blast, and I think we did quite a good job. Chopin is all about making the piano sing, and it's all about the combination of rubato, singing sounds, and this traditional form. This tradition, of course, it starts with Chopin himself, and then it goes on to Mikuli, his student, then it's been passed on to Friedman, and I'm lucky, very lucky, that a student of Friedman was the teacher of my teacher, Adam Harashevich, and so it's kind of a straight line to Chopin, and this helped me really develop the things that I love about this composer. As I said, this rare combination of rubato, of sound, we call Chopin-like, and this is not very easy to describe, because you have to be very lucky too that it all comes together. And there are lots of concerts where it's not coming together, but if you understood it, once in a while you will achieve it, and it's really hard to describe, because, for example, if you take a theme, you have your phrases, you have your things that you want to express in terms of emotions, in terms of structure, so what you want to do in your piece. But then it's all about the balance, how you do it. So you can always take more time, you can take a little bit longer for this phrase, a little bit more sound, a little bit also rounder sound, and bigger sound or less sound. So you can always, there are lots of ways to play Chopin, but there is not one ideal one. You can just destroy it easily, then it's the wrong one. But you can really make it work in a different way every time, and it will still be the same form and still be the same idea of Chopin. And this is a thing you have to really understand first, and then experience a lot of times, and combine it with yourself, because you're always feeling different, sometimes, because I'm practicing, for example, a lot with recording devices. I'm recording myself when I play, and then I'm most of the times or very often surprised of how it actually sounds and how you felt doing it at the same time. And once you got this balance that you know you feel that way and it's gonna come out the other way or the same way, sometimes it's the same. If you have that feeling and that balance, then you can really control what you're doing. And this is for Chopin more important than for other composers on this instrument, I think, on the piano. So I'm very happy that I could experience that from a person that experienced it himself firsthand, if you want. The main difference between these two competition attempts, let's say, was definitely the preparation. Because 5 years ago, one can never forget that I just studied and worked on the piano for roughly around 6 years. So I was basically a musical kid at that time, and I also played that way if I listen to the recordings today. But it wasn't bad, of course, but it's not something that is very thought through. And this is the main thing that changed, because the work with Adam Hadashevich that lasts now for a little bit more than 2 years has changed my understanding and my way of playing Chopin. And that's why we decided after a couple of months of working together that I can actually do this competition again, despite the fact that I actually an anti-competition person, usually, because I don't like them at all. But due to the fact that it's the 200th anniversary of Chopin, and it was a real hype in Warsaw, now I can say it after doing it. But due to this fact, I decided to participate again. And I really do not regret it at all, because it has opened lots of doors for me, and I'm very happy by looking into the future.